What's going on, Husker fans? Welcome back to the Husker Heisman Huddle on the Believe Podcast Network. I am your host, Sam Casaccio, joined by fellow hosts and Heisman winners, Eric Crouch and Johnny the Jet Rogers. How are we doing today, fellas?
Man, woman, and child. We're back again. Put me in, coach.
It's quite a spring game.
Feels good,
guys.
doesn't it? Got a little football to watch and things to talk about and excitement in the air, man.
No, people to talk about us. You know, we don't know if we have people are for us or against us, but it's hard when you're trying to beat your own ass.
Yeah. You still got to do it, man. Everybody's fighting for position. Everybody's fighting
That's
right now.
Everybody better fight. That's why you got mistakes and things going on, because people are serious, because this is serious business. Do you want a job? You better earn it. Yeah, you got to earn it. Ain't nothing giving away out here no more.
Well, I loved getting to finally see him actually do it, not just be talking about it. I know you guys have gotten a window in a couple times. For the rest of the Husker Nation, you know, we haven't gotten to get a real look at Rule's team and see what they kind of look together. And I overall, I really liked what I saw. Like, I watched a couple other spring games that tuned into them, and I thought our guys were played really, really hard, and they were, playing fast and were really physical out there. So in general, I was pretty pleased with it. What did you guys think? You guys got a couple different viewpoints there from the sideline and the stands.
Well, I think we're ahead of Colorado. That's what I want to do. That's what we just got to be ahead and take it serious. We have people that we're making each other make mistakes. We know the plays already. That always helps when you want to make a person make a mistake. But they seem optimistic and they're good to go. They're playing hard. I think they're playing a lot harder than a lot of other spring games going around the country, because we're in it to win it. You never get a second chance to make that first impression.
I agree, Johnny. The things that I noticed were the spirits, the emotion, the passion, the energy to be out on the field, and just it seems like they're really having fun. And that's important, especially when colleges. It's an emotional game, at this level. The kids can be riding high 1 minute and then super low the Met. And I think it's Coach Rule's kind of job to get those guys kind of like, flying high all the time and just and not worrying about making mistakes, but being in the right position and coaching them up. I just, I love it when he's like, a player will make a mistake, in the game, and he just starts riding on the coaches. A lot of times that just puts in perspective who he wants his coaches to, coach at a higher level, and to be accountable. And I think that's going to translate into these players and, them being emotionally invested in their coach and their team. And I'm just excited to watch it unfold. It's pretty cool to watch the beginning part of this to develop and follow. And it's exciting times for Nebraska.
Well, I think it's a coaching thing now. I think we got good players. I think the players are good. I think we got talent. Can we use it well? And can the coaches call the type of players that make the players confident in what they're asking them to do? Yep. Can they help the players step it up a bit? If you want me to step it up, but give me something to work with, coach. Put me in there at the right time and the right plays. You're supposed to know who's better at this than the next guy. Let's get us in there where we want to showcase something. Let's put those people in there where we know we can get the job done. And that's what coaching is all about. It's about resiliency. How can you bounce back? If there's not, especially when you're playing yourself, you're supposed to know. You know what each other is doing. But you can still get beat when you still know what's getting ready to come at you.
Yeah, I kind of to Eric's point that I saw, like, you like to just see Rule. I mean, I felt like he's holding a lot of people accountable. Like, they just see something go wrong in the game, and he was yelling at somebody. So I thought that was good. I know we didn't get to know this before the last week's episode, but obviously everybody's seen it that they went full live with the quarterbacks. I thought that was really good and contributed to them playing that way. I mean, I know you're taking a little bit of a risk but I think it's a risk you got to take. These guys got to know how to play fast and physical and practice doing that, in front of the fans. It can't, I think waiting until, going on the road to Minnesota or whatever, have that be the first time that happens is not a good way to approach it. And I think we have done that in the past. So I think
I was part of the
green
jersey brigade. I was wearing that green jersey every spring, and I didn't like it. But in this situation, I think fighting the guys that are there. And you're right. Anytime that guys are really getting after it in the competition, you kind of want to see what guys can do when you can get hit. Like, who's going to make a big play? Who can make somebody miss? Like, we want to see it. We don't want to just see him slow down and tag up. We want to see a guy make a big hit or a nasty cut move that just puts him wide in the wide open and an ability to run a touchdown, like a big play or something. And anyway, I'm glad they did it that way. I was real happy to see that the quarterbacks were live and getting some hits and feeling the pads. And I think that's important. If your quarterback's not live, it just kind of brings the level down of the whole entire offense.
People are vying for a job.
Yeah.
So you can't be slow. You got to do what you got to do, and you got to do it now. And you got to showcase your talents. You got to showcase it now. The coaches, when time comes to really pick the guys who are going to be first, second team, who's going to be on the field or not, they got to make those decisions based on reasons. So we have to see what you're capable of doing. That means you got to do it, and you got to do it now. And so it's wide open.
Yeah.
Not on us. If you don't get it done, it ain't on us.
Right.
We're giving you the go ahead. The green light is on.
We don't have a whole lot of time to figure it out. Like, I think Coach Rule knows he's been brought back here to turn this program around.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got to win our first few games, but without a doubt, we got to come out the gate kicking ass and taking numbers.
And I think I was going to ask you this, Eric, like, because I think Johnny's 100% right. It's not even just the quarterback, when you have him go live. Now we're learning something about, the edge rushers. We're learning something about everybody because they're not, kind of mailing it in. But Jeff Sims said after the game, he goes, I was so excited to hear that we were going to be live because it's not just about me making a throw. He goes, it's just when I'm not, I know I'm not going to get hit. He goes, you just subconsciously don't approach it the same way.
Yeah.
And, he's a mobile, our top.
Subconsciously, I think you'd be very conscious when you see them and they're coming for real.
Yeah, and they're coming for real. He was just like, even the way he approached the run game, he was, mobile quarterback.
Sure.
Harburg too, the first top two guys were some of the most impressive plays out there. I'm sure you felt the same way. Like, your legs are your biggest asset, and if you weren't getting tackled, then how could you like you said, you're not going to make a sick move if you know that you're not going to
you're just kind of like dying down at the end, where we want to I think the most important part of the game is the finish on especially in the running game.
100%.
Getting that last hit and getting a few more yards or maybe breaking free. So I guess overall I was impressed with the athleticism as the quarterbacks. I thought they all looked really, big and strong and fast and, and confident, and seeing Jeff Sims throw the football. I really focused in on his mechanics a little bit and noticed that he has a very quick release. He's able to get rid of that ball really quick, and he finds the lanes, and he's got good vision. And I was impressed with the way that he played, and I thought that he's kind of stepped up into that role. And to me, it's not seeing Casey play this spring, but to me, he's pretty clear that he's getting himself out, in that picture of wanting to be that starting quarterback for Nebraska.
Oh, I think so for sure. I mean, it's nothing can get decided now because Casey's not playing, but I thought he was, everybody was curious about how he'd look throwing the ball, and he ended up looking pretty great out there. I thought he had great arm talent. I think he was 9 of 13 at the end of the day. Made some good throws. I thought that he looked good. Then obviously he showed off what he can do with his legs. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of positive things to take here, but one negative, Johnny, was we start off making the long field goal, 49-yard field goal. Next thing you know, we're missing a 33-yard field goal, and somehow that's still creeping in. I mean, you want to see this stuff get cleaned up. How do they approach doing that going into fall camp? Can some of that even get taken care of in the summer? Can the team lead that can, that's really the thing. Cause now you're going to be away from the coaches are going to be away from the team now for a period of time. And you hate to see that that's kind of still where we're at, is we're missing easy field goals and some of the special team stuff isn't clean.
Well, that's going to affect the attitude of the whole darn team, because it really makes a difference. You got to spend it's offense, defense, and special team. So it's a third. And if you don't take it serious and make it serious for the players, they're not going to take it serious either. They're going to just nonchalant it, and then we're going to nonchalant our ass right on over to the losing circle, by a point or two.
Well, it's kind of to the point we're talking about with the quarterbacks. I had actually kind of hoped that we saw live, given that that's been such an emphasis, some live, kick returns and stuff like that. And they did some XFL thing. I'm not sure what that was. And I don't know if Coach Rule.
I didn't know what that was either. I thought they just did that possibly so you couldn't get that good of a running start to take away the possibility.
It's the XFL kickoff rules right now. If you've watched any of the XFL games, yep.
Yeah, well,
but we're not playing in that. We want to. Right. I want to see. we're doing this.
Well, I think it's coming. I think it's coming at some point. I know there's a lot of coaches out there that are, supporting this.
You think that maybe we make the full change?
I think it may. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
They're trying to make the game safer, and that's some of those biggest collisions are on kickoff where guys are, they're 280 pounds running down there, or 250 running down at full speed, and it's just like head on head.
Well, they might as well take away the punt return too. Then
no, I don't think so. I mean, I know what you're saying, Johnny. It's actually it was different to watch that. I'm kind of curious, like, what you think. Do you think that's, to that point? Do you like it or not? Because you still get a return though.
Well, I would think, to me, honestly, I would think it'd almost be easier to beat. I think because they're close up. Once you get through that first wall of people, you are. You don't have anybody else to beat.
That's amazing. Because I was thinking the same thing.
Kind of figure it out, and you can get there a heck of a lot easier than you can the way that they're generally doing it.
If you got good blocking though, because those guys are they're connecting early.
So if you tell them that they're special and they just take it serious, there ain't no way in the world that we can't design a way to break a hole in there. It's not that once you break through the wall, it's over.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like Nebraska's run game. Back in the day, like everybody knew that Nebraska's running the ball, so you put 8 guys in the box or whatever. But if you get through that box, there's nobody left. There's nobody left. It's kind of a similar idea. Yeah. Like if you get through that initial wall on a kick return, you're just gone. I've seen it. I saw it happen to on a couple times that somebody's breaks through and then you're gone.
Well, I think if they do that continuously, they're going to figure that out a lot easier than they've been able to figure out over the last 100 years how to break a rector, a kickoff, or a punt return. So they think they're making it safer, and it could be safer, but it could be more exciting too, because you're going to have a lot of people break through that little wall.
Yeah. The other things that weren't so great was that we had some issues with, outside of the missed field goals. Obviously, everybody's going to talk about the fumbles. There were a wild amount of fumbles. Now, I want to ask you both this. Do you think with a new team, new regime, kind of new way of doing things, whether, they're instilling more of a process or not, like whatever Coach Rule's process is for preparing these guys, do you think that can, maybe the kids have a little bit more going on in their head than they normally would, and that could lead to, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not stressing ball security or, anything like that. If you try to look at, I tried to look at it from a positive perspective of just, maybe they just have a lot going on. They're doing something new for all spring. There's new guys. And just, I don't know, because it was a lot of fumbles. It was hard to not notice.
66,000 people for a lot of people for the first time for the players. I mean, it's a good icebreaker for them. There's going to be mistakes. I learned a long time ago, back my sophomore year, to not really emphasize too much and harp on too much of the fumbles. I mean, obviously, you got to clean things up and you keep it at that. But man, our 1 year, we started talking about fumbles and we were doing ball drills left and right. It was learning how to carry the football, talking about the 3 and 4 points, and everybody had an idea. And we were always talking about, man, we got to protect the ball because we're fumbling it. We had led the country, I think, in 1999 with the most fumbles on a football team. and I think we set a record. And so, I would say that learning from that is just, work it on the drills. Obviously, ball protection, ball security is important, and holding on to it. We all know that. So they obviously that's a point to get better, and the coaches got to work on those and their, drills when they're in individual group work and things like that. But and in practice, you're going to work on, if you see a guy doing something, holding the ball out there, then you're going to say, hey, look, man, push-ups if you're swinging it around. So just a matter of holding guys accountable in practice for what they're doing and what they're seeing. And I think they'll be fine. I mean, I'm not too worried about it at all.
Well, I wouldn't be that worried about it. If every time you make a fumble, you run 1,000 stairs, I think we can fix it. Fix it
real fast with 1,000 steps.
I think you get your attention.
Yeah,
it's pretty darn serious. You run the ball and get the ball all the way down the field and you fumble it. No, it's pretty darn serious. We got to get over that right now. Right now. Yeah. I don't care what happens. You got to hold on to the ball.
A lot of it was
very elementary. You learn that in grade school. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's one of those things.
Too. Yeah. I mean,
snaps.
I must be working guys around differently. I don't know. Maybe a guy got with a center that wasn't used to it. There could have been some rotational things that obviously there's no excuses for putting the ball on the ground. You got to get the job done. There's nothing good about going out there and fumbling.
No, ain't nothing a thousand stairs won't cure. I'm telling you.
I'm just saying,
we'll catch your attention. You run 1,000 stairs, you're not gonna fumble.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Oh, it's serious.
Consequences.
Are you resilient or not? This is how you bounce back. You fumble it, you run.
But I think maybe that
make it worth a lot. Make it worth something. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. The running backs are different. You're shifted. We're trying to do 2 units. Maybe the format of the spring game may have been a little different than what they normally do. I don't know. It was a lot of them. I hope that they clear it up. I think it's one of those things that they probably, and I hope they do, leaders in this team in the summertime, certainly including Jeff Sims, like, get with your running backs, get with your centers, make sure that that the backfield stuff. Like, I mean, listen, a running back drops a ball, like, as it gets punched out. Okay. There was at least half of those fumbles where no one touched me, and I slipped on the handoff to a running back, or I slipped at the snap. So you got to get that fixed, and they can. So I hope they do. I
see that stuff. I mean, they're trying to get guys in. Like, this is a spring game. I don't know how far you go back and look, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of the fumbles there were. What'd you say? 8 or something like that?
6, yeah.
6. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's quite a bit, but
too many.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can't have. Usually, you don't want one in a game, but in a game, you're not going to roll this many people. You're not going to play 5 or 6 QBs or whatever they played, 4, 5. I mean, you're not going to play this many running backs. So I mean, it's going to get cleaned up. Your guys are going to the guys will rise to the top. They're going to get most of the snaps and things of that nature, and those things will, those turnovers will start to go down.
Well, if they emphasize how significant it is, then it'll go away. But if they nonchalant it could be there all the time.
Can't nonchalant it. I mean,
you got to make it a big deal.
Right?
1,000 damn stairs. I'm telling you.
Well, yeah, 1,000 stairs, whatever it takes. And I can tell you this, guys, like the benefit to what we got to see in the spring game. This is kind of sets a foundation. If we know at this point in Rule's regime as coach, and with this Husker team, we know where they've got some pain points, right? We know that they have some issues with special teams that need to get cleaned up, but they had that going in. It's not like they were sinking every field goal last year. They definitely weren't. They're missing chip shots. And so that's not been fixed yet. That's something we want to see. If, you get to Minnesota, it could be a real telling point about Rule as a coach. If we start to see these things as we go get corrected. If you see, we don't have any fumble issues, or we have a lot less, or, so we have a foundation of knowing where this team is at. Before we couldn't really see them. We couldn't see where they were at. We know that he's got established a team that's fast and physical, and that these are the kind of mistakes that they've, at least for one scrimmage they did in front of us. So if we see him making corrections on those mistakes to start the next year, what kind of, because I think with Scott, with Scott's time as coach and with some of the other coaches we've had in the past, we were seeing the same mistake season to season, the same thing would happen over and over again. And you're just like that. I mean, that kind of a problem is a coaching problem. When the different guys wearing the same uniform year to year are making the same mistakes because the guys
they're not emphasizing it. You got to emphasize where the problems are.
So I think it'll be interesting to see where kind of we go from here, because we've gotten our first taste. We know that this team, at least right now, seems to have some issues holding on to the football. Hopefully they get better at it by the fall. But it wasn't all bad stuff out there. It was a lot of good stuff, including, I was really impressed. I don't know how you guys felt looking at it, but I know we've talked about some concerns with what do we think the 3-3-5 defense is going to look like, and how is that going to fit into the Big Ten? At least on paper, it maybe seems like you only have a 3 down lineman. So, how are we going to stop the run, and how are we going to stop Iowa and all of that? And teams like Minnesota that'll sometimes put out 6 offensive linemen. I thought that defense looked great. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I thought it looked disruptive, and it wasn't just only 3 down linemen. It really was kind of like they'd have sometimes 4 guys down, sometimes 5 guys down, just depending on what they called. I think the stress is more on, they effectively have a guy, I think he plays the jack position. It's an outside linebacker kind of position where that person may be responsible for, stopping the run and being a down lineman depending on what play is called. Might be an outside linebacker. He might also be playing in coverage, and that guy has to be really versatile. But what did you guys think about it?
It's like a rover, huh? Like a rover back, huh?
Yeah.
He just rolls around and trying to figure it out. Well, I think as long as you got a good athlete back there, you got a good shot, and that element of surprise is always a good thing, and doing something different. So I'm all for that, as long as the players are taking it serious, and those on fumbles and whatever, that you get off on your own. You can't do everything at practice. You got to work on some things on your own with other teammates, and to get your own things together. When people see they have problems, they got to start trying to fix them themselves. It doesn't have practice is just not long enough to fix everything. You got to learn how to fix yourself and really want to.
Right.
And I think on this defensive thing too is what strikes me is it doesn't matter to me. Like I've said before, 3-3, 4-3, 5-2. I mean, if everybody is playing assignment football and you're doing your job, it should work. I mean,
right.
It will work. I mean, it helps if you got 3 big nasty guys up front too. I mean, if you got the interior guys that are going to make it real disruptive, I know that's going to, definitely help the defense. That's kind of where Nebraska, I think in the past, several years here, with depth on the defensive line and the offensive line, maybe that's just been something that we've had to, endure the last few years, but we just can't have that anymore. We got to find guys we got to find depth, and we got to find some defensive linemen interior wise that are going to be able to be leaders and make some big plays. I mean, where's the Domicon Sues? Where are these guys that, those type of players that you just want to see take over the game? And I know it's hard to find those guys. I mean, he's a different breed, but you certainly can get some players in here, and I think they'll get it. I haven't been focusing too much on the defensive line yet to really know and make large comments about what it looks like and individual players and things of that nature. But I do trust the coaches. I think they'll get it right. This 3-3 defense, I'm not. To me, it looked good. I mean, it looks fast. I mean, you can certainly confuse quarterbacks and linemen, and if you can do that, that's an edge right there, So if you can move around and create some disruption and show a lot of different blitzes and packages and be good about what you're disguising, I mean, maybe that's part of the game when you're looking at something like this, is to confuse the offensive line, and then that opens up the door.
Well, I hope they just don't get confused, Eric, because when you got 3 men on the line, if the linemen are doubling down on them, in my mind, it's hard to keep me from making 3-4 yards.
Yeah, on the run game.
Yeah, on the run game. You're going to have to, that second 3, you're going to have to fill really quick. You have to be in the holes really quick, because we'll double down on the guard or something. Or leave the tackle and come somebody pull around somebody, and it's happening before you know it.
Well, you're stating the obvious, Johnny. I think when you start leading with 3 guys up front. Let's go. We're running the ball, right?
We're running the ball.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think they're going to do that though.
Yeah,
I don't think
it'd
you're
be
going to see
great
too
for-
many times where 3 guys are just lined up on the front. I just don't think you're going to see it like that. I mean, there'll be a linebacker walked up, a guy that plays,
exactly.
quasi defensive end. You're going to have 4 guys on the line. A lot of times I looked at theirs. A lot of times there were 4 guys in the line. A lot.
At least 4. Sometimes there was more. And then like the linebacker would drop back into coverage and 2 guys would come off the edge and be in the backfield in 2 seconds. It was like, I mean, they definitely
he didn't have
had
his hand down. He didn't have his hand down, but
yeah,
he's there.
he's standing there. Yeah. I thought it was, I had a lot of concerns because I kind of was thinking like you, Johnny. I was like, yeah, you're going to put 3 linemen down in the Big Ten. I was like, they're just going to run it at you.
I'm just going to keep running until you bring your ass up there.
I mean, how much of this is maybe a concern about our offensive line that wasn't particularly good at blocking, run blocking last year? Does that play a role in it? But they were not just running on that defense. Like nobody was really doing that. I think the biggest run was maybe by Harburg, to be honest, on the day. Like, I don't think a quarterback, they weren't just like lining up and the running and the holes were huge. They had some room at times, but there were a lot of times where the defense did a great job stopping the run. And, I thought in terms of that, there was I thought the defense looked good, and I thought that they looked good in pass as well. I thought they looked like they could be they looked versatile. It looked versatile, and that's what Tony White. I'm not. It's not like I'm a defensive coordinator. The truth is, like, regardless of what I thought about it or what we thought about it, like Tony White's had successful defenses, and so far, like in the spring game, they look like he's coaching a good unit, and that's been true, I think, everywhere he's been. So hopefully we continue to see that.
Well, if you can find speed and you can find discipline and you can find guys that are playing together, there's no reason why you can't have a great defense.
Well, if you're versatile, like I said, but like I said, you really have to disguise that you only got 3 men there, because if I see you, I'm going to run it down your throat. If I mean, if you can disguise it, then you're great. But if you let me see it, then we run it. And we're gonna get 3-4 yards.
Check it. You're at the line. 3 guys over here, guys. Come on now, let's go. We're running it. And
Jeff Sims on his touchdown run got him, because he basically, and I like that about the offense too. They did a lot of different stuff. They got in big formations. They spread it out at different times. A lot of play action stuff. They look like schematically the offense looked interesting. And Jeff Sims check him out of the he kind of lined him up. And they, spread everybody out, and he saw the defensive backs are all over the place and just said, okay, it's going to be me versus one guy to the end zone.
Right.
And took it in.
Right.
Well, he showed he's not afraid to hit either.
Yeah. And there's people out there watching our spring game. They see it too.
He laid the boom on him. That was good. That was it. He broke that tackle. So I thought I was really pleased with both the offense and the defense in terms of that. And those guys are experienced. Tony White and Marcus Satterfield are experienced. But for this game, we hadn't gotten to see it. Now we got a good taste, and that was a positive thing. I thought it looked like those were good, and that the guys had a good command of it too. I thought Jeff Sims had a good command of the offense. And the word is that Casey Thompson's been doing a great job picking it up. So more good stuff to come there, I think.
I almost feel like Jeff, obviously playing through spring, will have a little bit of an advantage in the offense, and just the comfort level of kind of what the ideas, around this offense are. So, but I still think it's going to be a pretty good battle at the QB position. And you got to have 2-3 guys that can really go, because it can get crazy, guys.
It's got to be tight. Got to be tight. It's just a thin line. They're both going to get time. And they both be able to be comfortable with the first team offense, and we're gonna need them both down the year, because people don't get knocked out of the game totally, but they get hurt, they get tired. We need replacements, and you got to come in and don't really know that you've missed anything. You haven't missed a step when another quarterback comes in. So if Jeff's in or Casey's in, then we still in. We're still in it.
Right.
That's the way it really has to be. It has to be that way on the offensive line, the defensive line. We got to be too deep all the time. You really can't. It's got to be a real thin line between the two. Everybody got to be vying for their positions all year long, and don't really care about who's coming in for you, because you want somebody to come in for you because, to give you a break every now and then, because you got to give it all.
Right. Well, I think it's it's a good start for this team. They look, from a culture, physicality perspective, looked like they were having fun, looked like they were playing hard. At this point, in somebody's first spring as coach, that's all you can, really ask for them. You hope that they just continue to, brick by brick, improve, get 1% better every day. And that, we're looking at a pretty solid unit by a solid team by the fall. But I know this weekend was kind of, it's always special to be at Memorial Stadium, spring game and all that. But this was a particularly special one, particularly for you, Eric, that Frank Solich was back for the whole weekend. Did you guys get to kind of catch up and reconnect a little bit? Like, I know I watched his press conference a little bit, so it was great to see him back he, one of the best coaches in Nebraska history, I think, and I think it was probably way past due to have him back in the stadium.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You hit it on the head. I mean, I was just so happy for Frank because I think he was a little bit concerned. You get fired from a university that you played for and coached for so long, and you're probably wondering what people think of you, and been gone for a while now, and I'm just happy that he decided to say yes to that. And what surprised me too is the locker room being named after Coach Solich. That was really neat, and to watch that happen and unfold in front of me there was really cool. I was actually standing on the sideline, got to watch that whole thing, and I was really happy for him and his family. And what a great thing that Trev and Coach Rule did, bringing him back. I think you're going to see him at some more games, throughout the season. I think that's going to be really cool. Be kind of nice to peek up in the press box and see Coach Osborne and Frank Solich watching the game together, something like that. I kind of visualize that happening. But
it's
yeah,
about time.
Yeah,
It's about
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
It's about time that we have
overdue.
former coaches back. We have time that we honor more former players back. It's about time that we become, get the family back together again. We're a whole community, a whole state, and if you've been part of the program at all, from a fan to a coach to a player, that we're still all in it together.
There's no doubt.
Absolutely. And I think you guys would probably agree. Like, we've talked about this through spring. It seems like that your guys' involvement, I think this is very surprising to have that have been the case with Scott, but just in the previous years, since Frank Solich was here, like, it just hasn't been that way. And that seems like Coach Rule has really gotten the kind of Nebraska family, the former players, everybody kind of back involved and wants them talking to the team and wants them, involved in in the development of the team and in, kind of having the history of Nebraska be a part of the culture of this team, this year and going forward. I don't know if you guys would agree with that. I think you probably do.
Yeah. I've been felt more welcome now than I've had in years. So I think he's taken a step. I have access to the coaching staff, just a phone call away. And if I need anything, I feel I can call down there and ask for it, and they feel they can call on me at the same time. Coach Rule came to the Jet Award, spoke of the Jet Award for me. That was very kind of him. Yeah. He told me when I seen him this weekend that he's in for as long as I want him, he's there. So, and I told him the same thing. Anything I can do, I'm always there too. So I appreciate that. And I think that for former players that we're really getting the type of atmosphere that we need to have so we could be that 12th man as well.
Yeah.
I was actually a little bit surprised when Coach Rule asked me to talk to the team, because I was just checking out practice, and he's like, "Hey, you want?" I was like, "Heck yeah, I'll say something," So it was just good to be around the young men that need a little bit of a push right now. I think they should have a guy in every week.
They need a big push, and they should have a guy every week.
They should have a former player come in every week and tell them about, what do we need to know? What do we need to do? Just lead us, give us some guidance. You never know. Like, it just might resonate with a few guys. And, I thought that was pretty neat. So I was
Well, you got to take advantage
thankful.
of your advantages, and that's an advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think
an advantage that has not been taken advantage of in the past, and we need to do whatever is necessary to win. And you never get a second chance to make that first impression. So
Right.
we got to keep it moving. Every player, every former player has something different, a different slant, a different motivational quote that he can put in there to touch the right guys at the right time. And never know which one it is. So let's try them all, because they're still part of the team, and we got to do it now. We got to emphasize now. There's we're going to get it together by the end of the season or by next season. Hell no, we got to get it together now.
Yeah,
right now.
And I for one was pretty shocked. I think everybody in Nebraska, in Husker Nation is pretty surprised that this kind of stuff has been the way that it's been. I don't think people know that the former players and former coaches haven't been, felt, or at least felt 100% welcome. Like I watched Frank, Coach Solich talk about it. And one of the questions from the reporters was why now? Why haven't you come back until now? And he goes, pretty simply, just like, well, no one had texted me. Coach Rule texted me. Yeah, I got a text message from him, and
exactly.
That hadn't been happening, so I didn't come back. I got on. He goes, I didn't know if I was, didn't know if I was really welcome or not.
No.
So to have that, I guess to kind of bring it full circle, we've had a limited view of Coach Rule's time. It's been one spring game. But I think kind of after talking about this all spring, I got to say that might be the most encouraging thing about what we do know about Coach Rule and him being here is him kind of bringing the Nebraska family together and the Cornhusker family. And that, to Johnny's point, like if we're not going to use our advantages, we got enough working against us. If we're not using the fact that, we have, former Heisman winners and Hall of Fame coaches, that we're not having them come and get involved with the team, we're not playing into our history, then, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. So
that's exactly right.
It's a hell of a first, a hell of a place to start for Coach Rule to really start to turn this ship around.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It kind of reminds me about when Bo was here and, they put together the Team Jack thing and he went running out on the field and it just changed the game and all these other colleges started doing it. But, it almost feels like that where, something special happened, and I hope it can make a difference and change the mentality around Nebraska and the former players and bringing, if you think about it, Johnny, you said it earlier. I mean, it's about family, it's about team, it's about everybody, playing together and being involved. And I just think Coach Rule really picked that up, from the Nebraska, from just the feel of being in Nebraska and coaching here, is that it is about family. It is about the community and it's about each other. And I just appreciate him, not just saying it, but doing it, actually just doing these things. And you can say it all you want or whatever, but to actually do all these things. And it takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy. And here he is, he's supposed to be coaching his team, but he's thinking about all these other things that factor into making the program successful. So I do appreciate that. I can't wait to see how that translates to, better players and, better togetherness and moving forward in the right direction here.
Well, he has access and he's using it.
Yep.
He's using it, and we haven't been used to that. And so this is where Devaney had access and Osborne, and they used it. And they brought people together from all parts of the state, and they would drive from the far corners to get here just to support the team.
Yep.
And I think they're about to do it again. If we can go on and kick that ass in Colorado, it's on like buttered popcorn.
Yep. We got to get that one.
Get that one. I want to get Minnesota too.
The next game on the schedule.
Oh yeah, the first two games. We got to come out the gate kicking ass.
Done. We got to go on the road for the first.
Yeah, I was just say road games early. Okay, well, I'm excited.
Let's get it.
Got to get up when you're going on the road.
We come to get that ass. Pucker up.
Well, hey guys, we had a pretty great spring here though on this show. Got to talk to a lot of great people. Talked to Mike Rozier, Adam Carricker, Tommy Frazier. It was that was pretty great, and I think we've been great to cover Matt Rule's first spring.
Yep.
But yeah, this does kind of wrap up spring football for us. I don't know if you guys have anything else you wanted to add, but we're going to be coming back in the fall, probably have an episode in June, an episode in July, and then we'll be diving right into it, covering all the stuff for fall camp ahead of those 2 big games. I'm pretty excited about doing that.
Me. I look forward to grabbing some more, former players or people with connections to football in the program and getting them on our show. I think that was a lot of fun just to hear them talk about Nebraska and football in general. And I learned a lot from that. So no, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a great season.
Well, I can't wait to see who we can get as a guest. We get some good guests coming in. So
Sam, you got to get a guest, man. When are you going to get a guest? Let's go.
Yeah, I'll bring you.
Come on, man. We've been doing all the dirty work here. Come on, man. No,
I'll bring in a couple of guests. You don't know if you guys want to talk to my dad, but
no, you send the script. You just keep sending the script. We're good.
we have access. We can get us some guests. Right? We have a line of guests. We won't be short on guests.
Well,
I had Adam Carricker said that he would be a guest too today.
Oh yeah,
Pennsylvania.
You'd always come back.
Yeah. Greg Pruitt said he'd be a guest. Herschel Walker said he'd be a guest. We got guests.
Oh, you guys are gonna have to tune in though to figure out who it's gonna be. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on social media. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. We got content on TikTok. We got everything. Don't miss out. This episode was presented by Bet Online. This is a wrap for spring. And as always, go Big Red.
Every day is game day, y'all.
We'll be back.